Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. The horses are now nearing the starting gate. And they're off. As the field comes into the stretch. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. And it's a beautiful day here at the Big A with the temperature getting into the low 60s. The main track is fast, turf course is firm. Portable rails are up today, 24 feet on the outer turf and 18 feet on the inner. We have a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $194,000. No changes to report in Aqueduct's first race. In the second race, scratch 10, Danzig with the Stars, and 14, Full Moon Fever. Scratch 10 and 14. We have a jockey change on the 12, Hangout, to Luis Castro. Louis Castro on the 12, Hangout, in race 2. Third race, scratch the 4, Super Goner. Scratch the 4. In the fourth, scratch number 3, Value Engineering. Scratch number 3 out of race 4. The fifth will start the Empire 6, and in race 5, scratch number 6, Unrelenting Force. Scratch the 6. Sixth race, scratch 13, Obligatory. Scratch 13, Obligatory from the 6th. In the seventh race, scratch the also eligibles. 11, Elusive Ruler through the 16, Double Shot. Scratch 11 through 16 from race 7. The 8th race will begin the cross-country pick 5, no changes. The 9th race is the grade 3 Red Smith Stakes, and there are no changes there. In the 10th, scratch 1A, the Italian American, and scratch the also eligibles 11 through 15. Scratch 1A and 11 through 15, and there's an equipment change on number 9, Self-Made. He'll run with blinkers on. Blinkers on the 9, Self-Made. Main track fast, turf course is firm. The Empire 6 jackpot carryover stands at $194,159. We'll come back at 11:20 to recap the changes. Today's first race post is at 11:50. Up next, the Saturday Soiree. Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
Good morning, everyone. You guys are missing all the fun here taking place behind scenes.
Yeah.
Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Saturday, November 21st, another beautiful day, glorious day. 60 degrees out,
Feels like it should be April
I
21st.
know, it'll be called April 21st, it'll be freezing out.
It's a nice day.
I'll take, what are the odds that it's warmer?
I lost a weather bet to my buddy Ralph on Breeders' Cup Saturday. I had to give him $5.
Making weather bets now, too.
I got buried.
You're all over the place.
I got buried for a nickel, for a finster.
We're at 51. You won 2, but I won 1 back the other day.
Yeah, you got me for a fin. I thought it was going to be 58 degrees. It turned out to be, I think it was 97 when they ran the first Breeders' Cup race on Saturday here in New York. So, yeah, I got beat for a fin. Thanks,
All right.
Ralph.
Anthony never forgets.
Anyway,
I remember you need to go to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present to sign up, participate, join us, support racing, keep the money in the game, support racing in New York. We will match you with $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. Naira Bets. Also want to let people know, the first of the last 5 through the end of the Churchill meet, today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, next week. 3 at Aqueduct, race 8, 9, and 10. 2 at Churchill, races 7 and 9. Cross country pick 5. These have played great. Even like yesterday, I think there were only like 4 winning tickets, and still pay twice the parlay.
well,
Yeah. I mean, even when you get up into the, because there were some tough results here, to say the least.
to say the least.
Let's get to work. Race number 1. What have you done in race number 1?
I went to beautiful Karen because it's 2020, and of course the Karens have to win this race.
Okay, that's why you picked the horse?
No. Second off the layoff for Linda Rice. I thought this was ran okay last time out. I thought this was. I'm going to rephrase. I thought if this horse was not a Linda Rice trainee, and Linda's horses usually perform better with a race under their belts, I would have been disappointed in this horse's effort because I feel like this horse had a pretty good trip and maybe should have ran better. But with Linda's history of these horses sometimes needing a race off the bench, I thought this horse ran okay. And we're always trying to beat Snicket. I can't imagine Snicket's going to be. I have to imagine she's going to be short again today. I thought this was the most logical place to go. Take
a look at Snicket's 3rd place finish on the dirt 2 races back. Snicket's last race was one of the most epic hang jobs of all time. Snicket isn't able to seal the deal on the track surface that he prefers. She prefers, though I'm not sure she does, because she seems to run the same number on dirt and turf.
Same races, right?
Yeah, she's just not a winning type, and her last race was a disgrace. I mean, she hung like, I don't think I've seen too many horses hang.
It's amazing how they fit the same. They fit the same old. You were on the show. You were on America's Day at the races late yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Another American mandate 2nd place finish.
Yeah. The horse came back on to beat me for 3rd, to beat me out of the triple. Thanks for that.
I apologize, but these horses, they just don't want to win.
Yeah, let me finish the conversation, beautiful Karen. I don't agree with your assessment. Linda Rice's horses off layoffs, actually, she has very good numbers off layoffs. She does not improve second off a layoff over time. So in general, that's actually not true. She doesn't win with first-time starters. She wins with second-time starters, but it doesn't carry over. You would think it might carry over to layoffs. It doesn't. Her layoff numbers are actually strong.
Even with the maidens?
Yeah, just in general. Her layoff numbers are strong.
Okay.
It's just not, I don't, you really think this horse is going to run considerably better today? The horse ran fine. The horse can win based on the last race. I don't think this horse has particularly improved. I think the reason I picked Munning's Muse was I bet Beautiful Karen last time at 6-1. I don't know that David's right about these odds in here. A lot of people like Beautiful Karen, and
I think she'll be short. I think she'll be short.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's close. I mean, look, he has him 5-2 and 3-1. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's. If he's right, and Snicket's a heavy favorite here. I mean, the one thing I would say is Snicket. She is faster than these horses. The problem with her is she just seems to lose. And for me, I'm just going to take Munning's Muse to try to wire the field. She's the speed in here. Go to the front, Manny, and I just hope she can wire the field. At least she ran a little last time. I don't love her. I don't trust her. She's obviously not the horse she could have been after her debut, but nobody out of that race seems to be. Though actually some Rans turned out and ran well. Lucky Lizzie's the wise guy horse coming back, but to be honest, I don't know what that horse has done on the racetrack to suggest that horse is much worse, but it won't take a Herculean effort to win this. Race number 2. Got 2 horses coming out of the first race on October 24th. Actually 3. Arrowheart was in there as well. Actually 4, because He's a Lucky Devil. Now we'll take a look at that race. I did not show He's a Lucky Devil Very logical, though. Vodka Lemonade, the horse you'll see finishing second here. Ruse finishing third, if we can get that replay up. That was a race where the pace completely held together. And not to say the Vodka Lemonade and Ruse didn't run fine, because they did run fine in there. But I think that he's a lucky devil. Was 3 to 4 wide the entire way around, trying to close into a race where the pace held together, dropped out of the race early, could have benefited from maybe getting better position early. And I think that's one of Eric Cancel's problems. He often loses position early in races, and it handicaps him. I think he's a lucky devil is the one you may want out of that race, especially at a better price, and I'm going to take him to beat those horses.
I worried about him having another one of those wide trips from the 9-hole. I mean,
I don't know how you can worry about that.
Jock doesn't. Well, I think you said it. I mean, it's hard for him to find position.
Well, there's a long run to the first turn. Hopefully, he can.
Okay.
That's not why I would pick against him.
I got to push on Straw into Gold.
So we have a tip on Straw into Gold.
I got to push on Straw into Gold. Yes, I was told. I was told a few weeks back to look for the hard spun, and here it is.
Okay. I like the 9. I think the horse is interesting, improving. Anthony's got a tip on Straw into Gold.
Vodka Lemonade, the 6, so you have third and I have second. I mean, there doesn't really appear to be a lot of speed in this race. So it's almost pulled it off on the front end first time in this swashbuckle race.
Well, wouldn't you think that Manny Franco's going with Hangout on the outside? I mean, that horse showed sprint speed first time out.
I guess, but that was on dirt, and now this horse got to go turf.
But he's got the 12 post. If he doesn't try to show speed with this horse, he's going to end up in no man's land. So you'd have to think that horse would be forward.
I guess.
I mean, Vodka Lemonade should be forward here, might be in front, might win the race. I don't have a big problem with that horse. I think the 3 and 6 are both very logical horses. I think the interesting horse out of the race is he's a lucky devil. You've got a tip on the 7. Race number 3. We have a trainer staff for race 2. Thank you. Safi Joseph. You know Safi Joseph has horrific numbers with first-time stars in the turf. And Louis Castro is on Hangout, by the way.
Okay.
What's Manny like?
Oh, Boss Bear. Manny stayed on Boss Bear.
Okay. So that is the horse the trainer stat is on. I'm sorry, it's Action Jackson on the rail, who actually has some pedigree. Jay Ray was $1 million earner on the turf for Todd Pletcher and Larry Goichman. And she's produced a couple of winners in the turf, but they're not that good.
That's another one of these you see preparing at Palm Meadows and shipping up. We've had at least 2 more.
Well, it's a New York bred.
I understand that, but it's just, I found it interesting.
I don't know why people continue to breed turf horses to Union Rags. And I'm not sure I see the great appeal of the Union Rags, but I definitely don't know why people are breeding turf dams to Union Rags. He has not been an effective turf sire, and that's being kind. Now we can go to race number 3. Any question about race number 3? Let's take a look at earned success, winning 2 back at Monmouth. Earned success running in conditional $5,000 claimers at Monmouth. There's a certain amount of wisdom where you say, well, now the horse is running for $10,000, horse is moving way up in company. Having said that, $5,000 is the bottom level in Jersey. $10,000 is the bottom level right now here in New York. So all the horse is really doing is running the bottom. Do you see this as a major move up in class? Maybe the horses are a little better, but I'm not even sure.
Here's what I found interesting. Normally when you see that B next to the 5, right? It's for 3-year-olds who have won limitless races. Conditions. But this race, this horse had won 4 races before that. I don't see them for known as a 5, so I don't even know what the condition was.
Well, you could look it up. It's in Formulator. You can look it up.
I tend to stay away. I mean, I put this horse 3rd.
Why wouldn't you look it up, though? Just, if you're thinking about it, just look it up.
I didn't look it up.
You should have.
But I didn't.
You should have.
So listen, whenever they have the condition attached anyway, I'm not a fan of those races. I do think on paper, this is a step up in class, but this horse did not catch a particularly tough field, in my opinion.
Maybe it's not a step up. The horse ran for 10 last time. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. You've gone to the number 9, Breeze Burner, who seems like a very logical horse. I'm afraid that I don't think this horse is going to be the 9-2 David has him.
No, I don't either. I think this horse will be the favorite.
Yeah, Irad Ortiz riding this horse. This horse, I don't know if he'll be the favorite. I'd be surprised this horse is over 3-1. You know, Vickers Legends, a deep closer, got in that funny race in the slop last time. Summer Bourbon will probably take money, but Summer Bourbon's a very hard horse to trust. I don't know if this horse can run at all anymore.
Yeah.
I know he ran a little too back
starts
in a
back.
weird race.
I got sucked in last time
I didn't like him
with
at
the
all.
stretch out, and he didn't run 2 steps.
He isn't a
going
miler, so you could give him a break for his last race. So you like the 9? Go ahead.
I mean, now this is a drop down. This horse ran against State Bred Open Company. This horse is running for 10, and again, does not catch a particularly tough version of the 10. Wayne Potts horses are running. This horse caught a wet track last time too. He's probably
he's caught 3 straight wet
probably
tracks.
better. I'm sorry.
He's caught 3 straight wet tracks. Now
4 or 5.
he ran a fast figure on a Medi Seal track 2 times ago. I wouldn't use the wet track as an excuse last time out because it was barely wet. It should have been labeled good at that point, to be honest with you. And he has run well enough on wet tracks, but he's run well on dry tracks also.
Yeah.
The only one thing that concerns me a little with this horse, and he's obviously, I think he's the horse to beat, I don't disagree with you, is this is some dump job as the winter meet begins. This horse is gone for 10,000. There'll be 5 claims for him here.
Especially
and it just feels like they're saying,
for the A other end.
Yeah, let's get rid of this horse at the beginning of the winter meet. Now, listen, I'm just that, it's just food for thought. I thought Ethan Hunt could run well here. You know what? Here's my hope.
I almost put him on top. I almost put Ethan on.
Yeah,
I came close.
I think he's a big-time player in this race as well. He's getting some class relief. I should say class relief. He was involved in the pace that fell apart last time out. I thought he ran fine in there. With Flash Drive, I just want Charlie Marquez to blast off with this horse.
And with Super Garner coming out of here,
exactly,
that is certainly going to help the cause for Flash Drive. Yeah, he's a horse that I'm not a big fan of changing selections, but this is a horse that I'll probably be using in the pick 5 now because of the scratch, and this is just it's a key scratch for him. If one of the two would have, I kind of felt the same way about Super Garner.
One of the reasons I scratched, I picked the 3. I was thinking there was a chance Super Garner would come out of this race. I was thinking there was a reasonable chance that he might come out of this race, and he did. I'm going to take a shot. He wires the field. I don't love anybody in here. I agree with you in a 9, but like you, I don't think he's going to be much price. And I saw it. You could see it yesterday on the card. They're overbetting IRAD again. I don't get it. With all respect to IRAD, I don't mean this in any way as a criticism. He's a fine, tremendous rider. Last 2 Eclipse Awards. There's a room full of terrific riders in there, and to be singling him out is betting every IRAD horse. It just makes any sense.
And the truth of the matter is, he's not winning at the rate he was winning at 6 months ago.
Yeah,
he's not doing it. So
I understand, right, when Ramon rode here in the winter.
That was a different story.
I understand. He was on the favorites in most races, and he was just, not only is Ramon, honestly one of the best riders I've ever seen in my life, he towered over most of the colonies he was riding against here.
He was one of the smartest riders I've ever seen.
He was a great rider. He never rattled. He never rattled. You never saw the guy steady. Never. Yeah. Race number 4, big scratch, Value Engineering. I have no idea what happened to this horse. Sorry to see him scratch. Well, I think everybody wants to know why you picked a horse that has absolutely no chance in here, winning factor.
How does this horse have no chance in here?
Because he's too slow. Other than that, he's fine. How's he going to win this race? What do you like about this horse? I'm very curious. I've been wondering.
How's he going to win?
I thought you wrote the wrong number down, to be honest.
This horse is 6-1 on the morning line? Oh, I'm going to get myself in some trouble today.
Say $5 for socks.
What's not to like about him?
No, I'm interested in what there's to like about him. I know what there is not to like about him. He's not fast enough.
Since Dave Don took the training over, this horse has done nothing but improve.
Okay.
He's run against...
What races he got that's competitive here?
What's wrong with his last 2 races?
Well, his last race, he was involved in a ridiculously slow pace.
Hold on a second.
Okay, that's why I don't like his last race. The race before that, he sucked up for second. He's had a 3 technique. It was sort of like nobody ran. The winner ran and nobody else ran. Time before that, Lahara. Well, Lahara's proving to be a loser, and he also got an absolute perfect trip. He's a neat horse. Dave's done a great job with him, as you know. I've been a fan of this horse.
But who am I supposed to like? This
over
horse
him,
is a model
I
of
would say
consistency.
Conviction Trade, Arthur Kitt, Hieroglyphics, and Mr. Alec. Other than those 4, I definitely think he has a good chance to beat Blameless. I'm mystified what you like about this horse, but you obviously saw his race much differently than me.
I did.
Well, which one of his races is...
Jose's going to put him right off of Blameless here.
Okay.
He's supposed to sit a beautiful trip. He's been a model of consistency.
Okay.
He's run against better horses in his last 2.
Isn't Mr. Alec going to go?
I don't.
You think he's running against better horses?
I do.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. But okay, he beat Abiding Star by a length last time. Do you like Abiding Star in here? Well, he ran very well yesterday, but I don't think he win this race.
Would you like Ballarock's in here?
Well,
Would you like Spirit Animal?
Ballarock's a different situation. What you're doing is you're conflating a horse who just sat in a slow pace with Abiding Star, who wouldn't be competitive in this race. He finished a little ahead of Abiding Star, and you somehow think because he ran second to Ballarock's.
What do you think he's going to do in here?
Lose. You and I saw the race completely different. I wish you the best of luck. If I'm wrong, I hope you win. I want to talk about Hieroglyphics, who, I don't know, you have to realize the lines all changed. They're all going to go down because Value Engineering was probably around 2 to 1 or 5 to 2 in David's line. I'll actually look and see what he was. Guys, there's no reason to show that one. Let's try to show Hieroglyphics. Francisco has been having a very good week. He's not been strong so far today. He's got like a Saturday hangover here. Yeah, Value is 2 to 1. I think Hieroglyphics is going to get bet off his last couple of races, and he's moving into a completely different category of horse. I think he beat 2 very, very weak fields in a row. Did it with absolute dream trip last time out. He's obviously improved. He may have liked a 1 3/8. I think he's in a much, much tougher group of horses in here. I don't know if you had an opinion on him or not.
Yeah, I got him. I scratched into him for 4th when Value Engineering came out. I don't think there's. I mean, he's got 2, and I think this is a horse that's going to take a lot of money off his last 2 figures, but. I don't know how, when you look at the competition he's faced in his last 2, I don't know why I would want him and like you said, this line's going to change considerably. I wouldn't be surprised if this horse could be favored in here.
Well, Mr. Alex is a favorite, and he's the second choice if you look at David's line, because the 2 to 1 shot scratch. I like Conviction Trade, a horse I've always thought had talent. I think this is a very, very clever claim by Mike Maker. Last time out, they dropped this horse. Clearly, maybe he has issues, but he did run for 75 first time out. It's almost like Maker was waiting in the wings for this horse to drop down and claim this horse. Thought he ran very, very well last time. It's not like that race just completely incinerated. Malthiel came back and ran fine yesterday. Got a good trip, but he ran fine, backing that race up, and I think he's a very interesting Maker claim. I like Conviction Trade in this race. Listen, Arthur Kitt's not impossible. I'm not his biggest fan. I think Mr. Alec is very dangerous in here.
Yeah, I put him second. The last race worries me a little bit. I know he was in against much, much tougher, but the truth of the matter is, from the half-mile pole home, he did not do much running at all.
I agree. His race 2 back was very good, though.
The race 2 back was good. He was in the middle of a tough pace. But the 2 starts back when Tide of the Sea didn't go to the lead. He was kind of gifted that race on the front end.
He was.
He's a weird kind of horse for me, and I don't want to really rely on him at what should be a short price now.
All right, race number 4. Race number 5. I had absolutely no idea who was going to win this race, and I decided to finally pick Unrelenting Force. He ended up scratching, so I scratched, and the horse we'll take a look at here. Here's Advanced Notice, finishing second to Saratoga Pal, who's running later in the card. Burning Through Gold running 3rd in that race. To be honest with you, I'm not enamored with this horse. He had a very good setup last time. I think he's run fine in his races. I scratch into him. He's going to be relatively short. I don't like scratching a relatively short horse, but there's a lot of horses. Honestly, I don't think that the 1, 8, and 9, 1, 4, 8, and 9 I wouldn't want. I don't have a problem with any of the others in here. They can all win.
I thought the Great Dansky to 1 was a little interesting.
How?
But say that again.
How?
Horses, if you strip the wet track and the turf tries, horses 3 for 4. Now I know they were for Brad Cox and John Sadler, and this horse has been popular at the claim box, but I thought this horse was supposed to work out a good trip off the speed in here, and it's going to be a square price. I didn't...
Off the speed? Didn't you think this horse would be fairly far back in here? This horse is not very fast.
I don't think this horse will be that far back. It's supposed to be 2-3 lengths off the lead. I don't think this horse will be that far back.
I don't think so, but okay. We disagree.
Yeah. The 10 can win. I thought Money Ride made a lot of sense to me in here. This horse came down from Canada, went over to Mike Maselli, had a good trip, got the money last time. It was in the 3 life.
This is the starter allowance. Time, though? I mean, I don't disagree he can win, but I don't know. I felt like last time was the time for him. Got him 6 to 1 in that field.
I feel like the same thing can happen.
No, you're not wrong. He can win. No, I'm not. I didn't want to pick him because I thought last time was the time to have him, but I don't disagree with you. Listen, one of these days Burning Through Gold's going to go to the lead and be hustled, and he's going to hold on. I just don't know when it's going to be.
Right. Yeah.
And he's supposed to take pressure in this race from Sienna Magic. I don't
Magic's
see why
supposed to go, right?
Dylan would get away from what worked last time out. That would be a mistake.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I didn't have a strong opinion in here. And like I said, I don't love Road to Meath. It comes back on short rest for Ray. I didn't like his last race particularly. I don't know, but I guess he could win 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 to me. No strong opinion in race number 5. The late pick 5 after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
We're back on Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Today's Saturday card. Excellent weekend of racing continues. Late pick 5 kicks off in race number 6. And Freedom of the Press. We'll take a look at a horse that got beaten. And unfortunately, the horse who beat it got sick before the Miss Grillo. Scratched in the bog up at Belmont and haven't had a chance to see Lovestruck come back for Bill Mott. But I think we're fairly comfortable that she's pretty good. As is Freedom of the Press. Got a very good trip last time. Good ride, No excuse last time other than lost to a horse that may have just been better. And the horse is pretty good. This is a very logical horse today.
It's a very logical horse. There wasn't really much else to say about this. Haven't seen her now in 10 weeks.
Well, she was entered in the Miss Grillo, and she was scratched with a fever, so that's why you haven't seen her. She actually was slated to come back, a month after that race, but she got sick, and obviously she's fine.
Yeah, fast race.
Yeah.
Feel like the race is going to be okay in general, especially Lovestruck in this filly, and I don't think you'll get that 2-to-1 that David has her on the morning line.
I mean, unless there's something going on in here. I mean, Evie Jets, we'll take a look at Evie Jets' first race. I do think she'll benefit from stretching out. And she didn't run badly first time out and is going to take money in this race. The problem I have is this was a very, very fast pace that totally collapsed.
Yeah, she had a good setup. She didn't have things go her way last time. She didn't run particularly well, I don't think. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Well, I'm not going to be shocked if this horse runs reasonably well. I thought it was a little dressed up the first race, and then last time out, trying to sprint probably wasn't the right move here, and I don't think she's impossible. I thought she was dressed up. The 4 White Frost has some pedigree.
Yeah, Belmont, Junior Alvarado, a couple of dirt sprints to the route. What about the 7, Tick Tick
Well,
Boom?
let me just finish with White Frost for a second. The horse, the Dam, was a 4-time winner on the turf and 15 starts. So after Tours Del Pine, who's not that good, but she ran okay on the turf, got a 71 buyer. Dam got a 92 buyer. And this one looks like maybe, they prepped her. Miss Frost, was that Dogwood? I think that was Dogwood. I think that was a Dogwood horse. Not a Tommy Albertrani.
That's right.
Horse won the risk-averse. Horse wired the field the risk-averse.
It was an unusual trainer.
Yeah, it wasn't Frank Alexander.
I was going to say Dallas Stewart, but I think you're right.
No, it wasn't Dallas.
I think she was here. I think you're right.
Yeah, it may have been Tommy. For some reason, it may have been Tommy. I'm not sure. Okay, what do you like about Tick Tick?
What about Tick 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 Boom?
There's a lot of Tick Tick Ticks.
They've run her 3 times.
It's not going to annoy Johnny, all the Tick Tick Ticks.
They've run her 3 times on the turf. They've all been in minor stakes. She gets beat a length. She gets beat 2 3/4 lengths, and then she comes up here and runs in the bog at Belmont with the blinkers first time, and she runs behind the 2 Chad Brown fillies and Grassy and Fluffy Socks. I know she was beaten a long way that day, but I mean now she faces maidens on the turf for the first time.
I don't like her, but I don't think your logic is terrible in there. I do think she probably benefited from a considerable amount of give in the ground the last 2 races, though there is some give in this turf, and I don't think her races are good enough. But it's fair. She's kept good company, and she hasn't run horrendously. I didn't like her, but I can see that logic. I thought Fool Yourself was a little bit interesting here for Niall Seville. I think Fool Yourself, now it was that super bog last time, but this horse actually ran pretty well. She was dragged back, was very wide in there, and I thought sort of ran in spots and might run a little bit better in here. I don't know how much you can trust those races coming off the boggy turf, but I thought she might be a little bit interesting.
See many 121 to 1 shots get beat just 3 lengths.
Yeah.
She was making up some ground late last time. She's by Mosler, who stands down in Maryland, Country Life Farm, and yeah, I mean they paid little money for this filly, and she ran well first time out. Listen to the price. You want to try and play this race. You want to try and play this race vertically. I think she's certainly a horse you want to try and get in there. She should be double digits still today on the board after that, even though she ran well last time.
All right, we'll see what happens in race number 6, kicking off the late pick 5. Late pick 4 kicks off in the 7th race. And we'll look at Traffic Pattern running 3rd last time. I'd love to try to pick against Traffic Pattern. I don't wholly trust him here. He didn't run that great in this race, to be honest. He was a mediocre 3rd. I thought he ran very well 2 back. And I kind of wonder if he's a better horse if they're aggressive. And I think they may just be smart. There's not a lot of speed in here. I think Irad should send this horse to lead. It would be a mistake to believe this horse did not finish last time. This was a bad race. Having said that, it's probably a better race than anybody in here can run.
Right.
Because the horse got engaged in a pace and lost 2 back is not a reason to stop being aggressive with this horse. That just came up a wild pace in there where the whole field went. In a normally run race around here where nobody goes, this horse goes to the front in this race, who's going to pick him up? I mean, B-Catcher, will show you the stat for Graham Motion. He's got horrendous numbers first time for a tag on the turf where he's just 2 for 40 with a 50-cent ROI, and it just shows when Graham Motion drops his horses, he's dropping them for a reason.
Yeah. Listen, and I don't disagree with that.
Hard count never wins. I mean, you know, what am I supposed to like about him?
Supposed to go if a horse like River Knight, who was shown, who was trying
yeah,
to
he may go
on missions in the past. You know, you just let him go and you sit second to him. You know, 2 starts back when Traffic Pattern got pressed around there in pretty good fractions early on. That's not going to happen today. You have the outside position on River Knight.
Well, I mean, at least go forward. If, as you say, if River Knight wants to be aggressive, and I love River Knight, he's my favorite 1 for 68 horse of all time. Yeah, because he has run some really good races here.
He tries hard. He goes to the lead. You know, if they try to go on a mission again today, you just sit off of him.
Loves the big A. If you want to say that this horse actually has run his better races here, sort of later in the year. Look at that race last year, November 9th. That was a heartbreaking defeat for him.
When they're on the front end, the 2 turns.
Yeah, Benji's supposed to just let him go. I agree. I know, you know, the pace protector doesn't have him because some of the races he runs, but I think just let him go. Maybe hard count will win. He's just not a winning type.
No. And like you showed the stat for Graham Motion. I mean, B-Catcher is he's the drop down here, but I mean, he hasn't done a lot of running. He's been terrible.
2 turf races recently are horrendous.
This is one of these races where I feel like, you know, it's obviously too big a field to do this, and I don't do this a lot, and I know you don't, but this is the kind of race where if you feel like you can't hone in on Traffic Pattern, this is like an all-ball kind of race. Now, you and I don't ordinarily do that, but this is one of those races where I don't think you could rely on any of the other one. I don't think you could have a strong enough opinion to say, okay, I'm going to go 3
If I had all this race, I would be passing on the pick 4 or pick 5.
Well, that's your other option.
Race number 8. We'll take a look at Saratoga Pal, who's the horse to beat in here. I know he had a decent setup last time. I think this horse is actually okay. I don't love the fact that he doesn't have much speed. But I think you have to believe that there's some pace in here. I mean, the Revenger has speed. We'll see if Riken or Ricken, whatever his name is, can clear. And maybe he does, and I don't think he's impossible. But at the end of the day, I just think this may be a case of the best horse in the race.
And I thought, to me, it was a 2-horse race. Now, not solving the Sphinx by saying that. I thought Ricken was either going to clear and keep on going. And even if he does clear, I think Saratoga Powell is the one that could pick him up. I really don't want anybody else in here. I'm hoping Ricken can get back to his form from 4 or 5 months ago, get off the mud. The muddy track did not help him last time. He has not run well on wet tracks in the past. Just get to the top in here. He has to clear. See, I know there's other speed on paper in here.
Do you think it was the wet track was what was his problem
I think that
last
was
time?
part of it because I don't really see a drop-off. If you look at his speed figures, he actually kind of had the one drop-off and then was kind of coming back to what he was doing back in July, and I think the wet track put a stop to it last time. I'm hoping
it wasn't the speed duel in the race.
It was in part. But he's gotten into speed duels and hasn't run as poorly. I'm just hoping he gets in front here.
Not as attracted a speed duel as the one that was in last.
Okay, so maybe it was a combination. This horse is, but he's also shown that he does not stand up on wet tracks in the past. So I'm hoping he gets back to the dry
I didn't
ground.
look up his other wet track. The other one was a sloppy wet track. He was 25-1, and he came over to lead. And I think he's a different horse since then. I mean, that's fine, but I sort of an improved horse since then. Maybe you're right. You may be right. I picked him second. I'm not against your opinion.
Yeah, I think they're the two.
I'm not sure about that. I think you're oversimplifying the race. I mean, look at the race where Gemocracy finishes second. I think Notorious Flirt is a horse that might have needed that race. I know we talked about Linda before being good off layoffs, but he did run his figure. I'm just kind of hoping he's another horse that moves forward for Linda Notorious Flirt. Because I thought some of his races last year weren't bad. Gemography ran in here, and I don't think that should be completely dismissed.
But you know, I think he got a good setup in here when there were three across the track. Jared and Nipper was on the lead off the
I
long
understand
break.
he got a pace, but others didn't make the kind of run he made.
No.
He ran. I mean, you can't deny he ran. I don't disagree that he had a good setup, and I think this is a good example, by the way. This is the racetrack that you're calling muddy. This racetrack was good.
It was
he was
good.
running on it. So Rickon, I'd be a little careful with that, because it wasn't the kind of track it's been on before. I don't know. What about Wow Brown switching to Charlie Baker?
Yeah,
I didn't think this horse was totally impossible. He's improved. He's run well in his last 3 races. It's not a wet track situation because he ran very well in a dry track 3 back. I thought this was a little bit of an interesting horse coming in for Charlie, a new face in here.
Maybe. I left him. I mean, notorious 5th pick. Left the horse open. I guess the horse can win.
I don't think any of these races are overly simplistic, and I think we've seen that throughout when the racing's been good here. It hasn't rained. Seen some goofy results. I think these races are very complicated.
See, a horse like the Revenger, the number 4, who has to get a little faster. He's interesting because
Last race wasn't bad.
And if Rickon's going the wrong way, and
But he still has to deal with it.
You would think, right? But sometimes when these horses go the wrong way, they start to lose their speed, and now you have a horse like this who's going to be double digits on the board on the front end.
His last race wasn't terrible.
No.
I don't disagree.
We've seen crazier horses
think,
win on the front end.
I think the
right?
Revenger's a horse that will probably have some success here over the winter.
Right.
I don't know if today is necessarily the day for him.
Dodging
But
some other speeds,
yeah, but
this
I'm
horse
not,
might be okay.
I'm not. I thought his last race was okay. So we go on to race number 9, the feature, the Red Smith, and we'll take a look at last year's Red Smith with Sadler's Joy and Red Knight hooking up. The rematch.
Yeah,
Since last time.
the rematch.
And Sadler's Joy is such a cool horse, and he's just way the horse to beat here. Joel Rosario fit this horse like a glove. It's a great choice of riders with Javier being on the bench. Hope Javier is recovering at home. And Javier, I don't want to hear that you haven't been watching Talking Horses. I'm going to have to check in with him and make sure that he's, we would be, if we were on the bench, we'd be watching Javier ride. So the least you can hope is he's watching us, right?
Of course.
What else could he have to do than watch us?
Nothing.
What else does anybody have to do?
In 3 months last year, we got to see Annals of Time win the Sword Dancer, Bricks and Mortar win the Breeders' Cup Turf, and Sadler's Joy win the Red Smith, and that was a nice little 3-month run. If you like the distance turf horses that have spent some time here in the Big Apple the last few years, he hasn't officially won a race, Sadler's Joy, since. He, of course, won the Bowling Green.
I thought he ran well last time.
I thought he did too. I thought he'd throw out the race 2 back.
He's run well
on the
all
bog.
year. I mean, his Manhattan was fine. I mean, he's a tough horse to ride. I mean, Javier's probably happy that somebody else. I mean, I'm sure he wished he was riding, but he feels like, I imagine Javier at some point saying, let it be your problem, because he's a horse that makes riders look bad, because I don't know how you time his moves.
Yeah, I talked to Tommy Albertrani this morning on the Equine Forum, and he basically said, I said, you're going to give, I know this horse is a little quirky, you're going to tell Joel anything? He goes, well, what do you really tell Joel?
You don't need to tell Joel anything. Joel's...
You try to save a little ground, you try to time the move the right way, and look, he timed it last year, and he got the money with Javier Castellano. This horse...
This feels a little tougher than last year's.
It is.
I think it's tougher.
It is. I don't disagree with that. I think the horse you put on top makes a lot of sense.
Well, let's talk about him. We'll look at the race from Keeneland that Red Knight won. Red Knight, I know he won the race. He could not have gotten a better
Jimmy
show.
Graham was that was an amazing ride.
Did everything perfect. Sat in the rail, angled out. He may have been the horse to beat. He ran well. Zayad had a lousy trip in this race. Zayad didn't break that sharply, and I thought he broke about a length slow. He was 3-3 and 4 wide in the turns, and he maybe wasn't taking the turns that well, and...
3 turn, by the way, he didn't stutter just now. 3-3 and 4, it's a 3-turn mile and a half at
like
Keeneland.
Today.
Yeah.
And he was still grinding it out at the end, and he almost got second. He never stopped running, and unlike if you look at the success that Graham Motion has had with the Europeans, a lot of the ones he's done, like the main sequences, he's had them for a while. He had just gotten this horse. This horse had run a month earlier in September. Now, maybe he had an issue with bleeding, and that's why they brought him over here. This is a horse that ran 3rd in a Group 1 at the Prix Saint-Cloud. I'm sure that they weren't the best Group 1s of all time, the horse he ran against, but he's running Group 1s over in Europe, and he's running competitively, he's running here, and he had a lousy trip last time. I kind of hope that Manny can sort of drop him over. He ran 75 more feet, according to Trackus, than Red Knight did last time, which just makes him so much better than that one in here. I think if the favorite loses, and I'm not against Satterwhite's Joy,
hard to be against
he's
him,
going to
right?
lose
Yeah.
to Zayad. In all likelihood.
I don't disagree with that. And I think bringing up the point that he did break, they kind of missed that. He did kind of, I bet this horse, I liked this horse a lot last time. He broke a little slow last time. Provided he breaks today.
I hope he gets left and May drops him over the fence. You think I'm joking? I'm actually serious. I'd love to see him break a length low and May just pop him over the rail.
Provided he breaks today, right? Prior to the Sycamore, he had one other race in North America. I know it was a slow pace, but he was on the lead in the Canadian International last year. That
only
was a
by
super
default.
slow pace. But, Andy, where's the speed in here? I mean, it's postulation, right?
Well, no, the speed is real factor, probably. It's probably faster than these horses. What is Jorge Vargas going to do with him if not go? Isn't he in here to go to the front?
I mean...
Well, why else is he in here?
I guess, but he doesn't go. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, he has in the past.
Yeah.
Well, he's running in races with faster paces. I would think that he's going to go in this race. Boswell's try to go. I don't really know. You know what? I would think that Junior should be aggressive with Tintoretto in a race that doesn't have much speed. We'll see how it plays out. I'll tell you what I don't think is impossible. North Dakota, who ran fourth last time, I don't know. He had a good trip, but I don't know how comfortable he was trying to move inside of horses in the stretch. And in all fairness, maybe he was sucked along a little by the race, or maybe he stepped forward when Shug stretched him out in distance.
He's shown improvement throughout the year, right? It went in the 2 races at Tampa. He came back to Belmont. He's improved all year. And the point about the distance, that was the first time they sent him a real
Right,
round
as I'm saying, he improved with this. So let's talk about Aquaphobia. Because when Aquaphobia ran the race we're looking at here, he ran a race that could win here. His race last time at Keeneland was, I know he had a perfect trip in this race, but he still ran. His race at Keeneland was pathetic. Very un-Mike Maker-like. You have to admit, he could win this race if he runs the race he ran here.
If you tell me he's going to run his United Nations, he's a contender.
Yeah, no, he was awful last time.
Here's the problem.
And that steadied is ridiculous. He was steadying because he couldn't keep his position.
He just
done.
stopped.
Yep,
He was just
done.
And that race, and to me, this is where the perfect trip, and let's be honest, that was not the toughest grade 1.
He still ran a race.
He still ran a, but he.
Which of the tough races Saddler's Joy's been in this year? I mean, let's not get carried away.
I mean, this horse tripped out and got the money.
I know, but he still ran a race could win here. I agree with you, but you can't just totally dismiss him because he's got race to give him a chance. He was just awful.
He does. He's going to have to find his exception to the rule, though, to win this race.
He ran a good race down in Florida, and it's not like he didn't run any good races. I mean, he ran second to Halliday when Halliday was able to control the pace up front. No, I disagree. I don't know if he can still run, but I think he's got races. Race number 10. I want to start the conversation with Michael's Bad Boy, who probably going to be the favorite in this race. I imagine this horse is favored. This was pathetic. This was pathetic. I mean, this is one of those legendary hangs, and I could never. He might win here because there isn't a lot going on in this race, but you talk about hanging.
How much do you want on him right here? I mean, how much do you want on him?
Right now, nothing. It's 2-1 morning line. He's got IRAD. Look at this hang job.
And this is one of the ones. So this was one of the ones that shipped back up from Florida. This horse stayed, yet the other maiden's been down. The maiden earlier on the card's been down at Palmettos. It's all very confusing to me.
I just think he's a good horse to bet against. So now I'm starting to get. Is it Dave Donk's birthday today?
No. I don't think.
Did you get a call like yesterday?
Maybe it is.
Dave Donk's going to win 3 on Saturday, and you're trying to figure out which 3.
I didn't.
What do you like about Bielefeld? Well, I guess that could win, but how?
I liked 4 or 5 horses in here.
But what about him? You put him on top.
I'm taking the horse who I think is going to be the best price in here.
Okay, what do you like about him?
Well, the race. What I don't like the race 2-back, but the races 3 and 4
Well, his
back.
race 2-back was horrific. He had a terrific,
it
perfect
was
trip
awful.
in there. The
It
race
was
fell
awful.
apart. He came through on the inside.
It was
He's stuck.
awful.
Okay, what do you like about his race 3-back?
His race 3-back.
Gets him nothing here.
You think his race 3-back gets him nothing here.
Well, that was a suicide pace that completely and totally melted down. Isn't KK Ishikawa running earlier today? Or was that yesterday? Take a look at him besides that race. Maybe that was yesterday. Maybe he ran yesterday.
Listen, Andy, they're in for maiden 40 on the turf. It's the bottom we have here. I mean, you're going to try to build cases for or against these horses.
Well, I mean, listen, anything can happen. I suppose he could win. He's never run a good race, but maybe by attrition he'll win.
His race 3 starts back puts him right there. You're knocking him for the
Under
setup.
ideal circumstance.
You're knocking him for the setup. I mean...
Well, he got ideal circumstances. I don't see it. Listen, on the other hand, I don't like the 8. I don't know how anybody could bet Brico in here.
Right.
I mean,
I put him 4th, you put him 4th, but I mean...
Couldn't win races when things were going well. I didn't really like him.
There's an equipment change on the 9, there's blinkers on. I don't know, I can't imagine that's going to help that much.
Okay. Empire Express, I'm shocked you don't have in the top 4. First time for Noda. This is a rare one. Excuse me, a Noda horse that I have forwardly placed and you don't. We talked about him before his last race, that was a bad drop. Not to try him on turf, not to even try him on dirt.
Yep.
He actually ran well 2 back. He was involved in a monstrous pace. Another horse in the pace duel has run very well in subsequent race for Linda Rice. Cold Heart
Cash?
Yeah, that sounds right, yeah. The only bad race this horse ever ran. And if you don't believe me, watch this horse's debut on the turf in November 2nd. Watch the entire race. If he runs that race here, he'll lap this field. They should just take him out of the gate and take him right to the winner's circle. And he is going to Noda's barn. I don't trust him. He may not be able to run anymore. He's going to be forward in here. You know he's going to go.
I'm going to use him. I'm not telling you I'm not going to use him. It's just, the barn is starting to quiet down a little bit.
Yeah. Starting to? Well, they have.
This horse.
It was awful, but this horse's turf race extremely good.
I know it was. But does that horse exist anymore? That's the.
I don't know,
that's
but
the
I
problem,
want the
right?
fuzzies here because I do not like what we've seen.
That's fine.
Doesn't mean by attrition they can't win, and I guess there's a world where Bielefeld can win. I don't live in it, but I guess there is one. The 7 open lengths. The Dam was 3rd twice on the turf in 8 starts. Did get a 76 buyer, so she could handle it. We'll see. George Weaver's wanted to get this horse in the turf from the start.
Yep.
I respect George Weaver in that. Kendrick and the blinkers on. He'll be forward in here somewhere reasonably close. I want the fuzzies, like
Must
I said.
use. He's a
so I
must
want the
use in
3
the
and
race.
7 in this race. They're the 2 I'm using. I don't like what I've seen from those that have run.
Okay, fair enough. He's a must use.
I got to get some tea before I go upstairs. That's why I was sort of rushing through the end. I apologize.
We covered everything. I think we covered everything.
We did. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Match 200. We will match up to $200 your initial deposit. Sport racing in New York. Play through Naira Bets. Cross country pick 5. Races 8, 9, and 10 at Aqueduct.
Give the guy a
Churchill
second,
7.
man.
I don't know. I don't think Francisco's on
I
his
think
game
you've
today.
been a little hard on him today.
Really, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Francisco, what do you think?
Good answer, Francisco.
He says he doesn't know. You got to be more definitive. You can come down. Francisco's our relatively new PA. He's doing a tremendous job. Very impressed with him. He must have been taught by Jose.
Deep end of the pool.
All right, guys.
Right into the deep end
Great
of the
card
pool.
today. Great card tomorrow. If you haven't looked, excellent weather. So enjoy. Aqueduct. The November meet continues. Johnny I up next in a few minutes with a reprise of the scratches and changes.